Okay, let's get comfy, guys. Let's jump into it. So, my name's Jen if you're new here, and I want to talk to you about my addiction that I had for the last 15 years of my life. I've quit once, and that was only because I was pregnant. And that addiction was nicotine. I was addicted to smoking cigarettes. I hate smokes. I hate cigarettes. Like, even when I was smoking, I knew I shouldn't be smoking. But that's just what an addiction is sometimes. You just feel like you can't stop something because you have an addiction to a drug. In my case, nicotine, cigarettes. And like, even when I started smoking, I was like, oh, I'm not addicted. I just enjoy smoking cigarettes. No one enjoys smoking cigarettes. It's so bad for you. But you tell yourself this so you feel like you don't have an addiction. And I went through all the emotions of like, I'm going to give up one day. 15 years later, at age of 30, I was still smoking. And I just knew I had to be done with it. So at the start of 2023, I said to myself, I'm like, I'm going to quit this year. I am going to quit nicotine. I'm over it. I don't want to do it anymore. My daughter is at the age, she's 3.5. She's at the age where she's like aware. Like she's aware. She's not like a sponge anymore. Well, she is, but like a walking sponge. They absorb a lot and they take a lot in at this age. And I just didn't want to be that mum that smoked cigarettes. Like, I didn't want to smell like a cigarette. I didn't want her to think it was okay to smoke. And I just didn't want to be that bad influence on her. So that was one of the reasons I wanted to quit smoking. The other reason I wanted to quit was because it's so expensive these days. Like, when I started smoking cigarettes, I would buy a packet of 30s for like $13. Now when you buy a packet of 30s, you're looking at $50. So I wanted to quit because of financially, because of my daughter, because of my own health. Like, I'm training for this half marathon that's in a few weeks. And my running could have been so much better so many months ago because my lungs were just struggling. Like, I was going for a run and I would come home, have my protein water, and have a cigarette after exercising. Like, that's bonkers to me now. I was doing all these things and I was like, how am I going to quit smoking? I don't know how to quit. Because in the past, I thought I had to use willpower to stop or cut back slowly, or I don't know. I just didn't know how to navigate quitting cigarettes. And like, when I quit when I was pregnant, the only reason I quit was because I was pregnant. So that was my underlying reason. And then when I picked up the habit again, it was when my relationship went into shambles and like me and my partner broke up. And that was the worst mistake I've ever done, was pick up that filthy habit again. So yeah, 2023, I'm like, yep, I'm going to quit. I'm going to do it. I tried vaping for a little bit. I don't like vaping. I don't like it. It's not good. It made my lungs, like, I felt like I was coughing a lot. Felt like there was water in my lungs. So I didn't really like vaping, even though I thought if I vaped, I would quit cigarettes. It did not work like that. And then I tried nicotine-free vapes, and again, made my lungs feel like it was full of water, made me cough a lot. Like, it just wasn't for me. And so I was like, oh, I don't know how to do this. How am I going to quit? I've got this half marathon coming up. I have a 3.5-year-old child. I'm like, my bank account isn't liking the cigarettes. How am I going to do this? And that's when I found the book, Allen Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking. And you can apply this to vaping as well if you vape. And I did the audio version book. I didn't want to read it because I knew if I read it, it would take me an eternity. But if I listened to it, it gave me more motivation to get it done. And so I would just listen to it any chance I got. And it was my saving grace. Like, that's what really helped me quit my nicotine addiction. The best. You can smoke if you think you're a bad addict when it comes to cigarettes. You can smoke while you listen or read this book. There's not a lot of pressure. It's just really good. It's a really good book. I highly recommend it if you want to quit or you're thinking about quitting. It's just full of information that we kind of know as smokers, but the book makes you drill it into your brain. Like, after I listened to the book, I was like, I kind of feel brainwashed in a good way. Like, I loved it in that sense, because obviously now I'm not smoking, so it did something for me. But I will say the first 3 days, you do still think about smoking cigarettes. Like, the thought does cross your mind, especially when, like, after a meal, the minute you wake up, make a coffee, have your smoke, see the sunshine. Like, you have your routines where you would have a cigarette. And in those, like, moments, you kind of think about it, but you're like, no, I'm not doing that anymore. I'm done with it. Like, in the book, you have like a final cigarette, like, ritual thing. And I really enjoyed it. Like, you smell the cigarette. And like, for me, the smell of tobacco reminds me of my nan, because I'd roll cigarettes with her on her dining table. And like, that just gives me like core memory. But that's what I would do with my nan sometimes, is roll cigarettes. Like, that seems so crazy. But that's smell of tobacco reminds me of my nan. So for me, when I smelt my last cigarette, lit my last cigarette, put out that cigarette, I was like, okay, I'm done with the nicotine. And so, yeah, the first 3 days after, you do think about it, but you don't want to. I didn't feel like I was struggling. I didn't feel like I was like, I really need a cigarette. No, the thought would pop in, process it, and I would shoo it away. Like, it was a completely different feeling to all the other times I quit smoking or tried to quit smoking, because all the other times I failed. It's been a week since I have been a non-smoker, and I don't think I will go back. Like, I've gone a week already. What's the point? It doesn't tempt me. I know it's not good for me. And my daughter doesn't have to see me smoke a bloody cigarette anymore. Oh, I just spilled coffee on myself. Like, I'm so proud. I'm so proud. And so if you're thinking about quitting cigarettes, just think, the hardest part is maybe the first 3 days. And it's not even hard if you listen to the book or read the book. It makes it so much easier. Coming from someone who smoked for 15 years pretty much, like, the first 3 days is the worst. It's not even that bad. But, and I will just say, your digestion could be a little bit funny for the first 3 days. I was so bloated. I don't think anyone talks about that. My stomach was so bloated for the first 3 days. I couldn't poop, and like, it was just a bit like, oh, I feel uncomfortable. But now I feel so much better. Running feels so much better. I still do things that like smoker Jen would have done. Like, I still go outside in the mornings and have a cup of coffee, but I just don't smoke now. I still like to do those things. I still like to sit outside. I just don't have a cigarette now. I'll just sit there and scroll for like 5 minutes, have that moment to myself. You don't have to like fully change your lifestyle to quit smoking. You can still have those moments of having a break. You gain so much more when you quit smoking, and your bank account will love you for it. Your health will love you for it. It's just the best. So if you are looking to quitting smoking nicotine, I recommend trying out the book. Listen to the book, read the book, whatever. I'm going to link it down below, Allen Carr's Easy Way to Quit Smoking or Vaping. You can apply it to vaping as well, and just give it a shot if you're looking to quit. If you don't end up quitting, there'll be another method for you. Like, it's not impossible to quit. I thought it was, but it definitely is not. So, in saying that, that's it. That's all I have to say. I quit cigarettes. I'm done with it. I hate it. I'm done. Love that I'm a non-smoker. So, if you're in the process of quitting cigarettes, please leave a comment, or if you've quit cigarettes, how did you quit? I would love to know. And yeah, I hope you enjoyed the video. Subscribe, give it a thumbs up. I would really appreciate it. I really would. I haven't done a long form video in so long, so I would really like it if we could get some love. All right, I'm sounding desperate now. I'm gonna go. I'll see you next time. Bye.